You know that feeling when someone says a name and you can almost hear the money? Bugatti. Even if you don't care about cars, that word hits different. It sounds like speed, it sounds like luxury, it sounds like something you're not supposed to touch. But here's the funny part. The Bugatti story didn't start with billionaires, supercars, or internet hype. It started with a man who was basically allergic to normal. The kind of person who looks at a machine that works fine and still says, "No, that looks ugly, fix it." The kind of person who treats a boat like it has to be beautiful, not just tight. And when people think like that, two things usually happen. They build something the world remembers, and they also create problems, because perfection is expensive, and life doesn't care about your standards. So if you think Bugatti is just a rich people car, you're missing the real story. Bugatti is more like a family drama mixed with war, mixed with genius, mixed with a brand that keeps slipping away, then showing up again when nobody expects it. Let's go back. Ettore Bugatti was born in 1881, and you need to picture what the world looked like then. Cars were new, engines were rough, a lot of machines were basically experiments you sit inside. People didn't trust them yet. Horses still felt safer. Ettore didn't grow up in a regular mechanical environment. His family had art around them, design, creativity, style. So from the beginning he learned to notice shape and balance, not just function. That matters because when he later designed machines, he didn't treat them like metal boxes that move. He treated them like objects that should have grace. But he wasn't some soft artist type. He was intense, stubborn, the type who hears that's impossible and takes it personally. And he had this very specific obsession. A machine should work brilliantly and look brilliant while doing it, not later. During. As a young man, he got deep into mechanical work and design. He built, tested, fixed, rebuilt. He learned fast. He moved around the European car world getting experience, and at some point he decided, I'm not making someone else's dream anymore. So in 1909, he set up his own company in Molsheim. Now, if you're imagining a flashy headquarters, no. Think more like a workshop kingdom. Ettore wanted control over details. He wanted to be close enough to the work to feel it. He was hands-on in the way that makes some people admire you and other people exhausted. And his thinking was different from the start. Other builders chased power by going bigger. Bigger engines, bigger frames, heavier cars. Ettore chased speed in a quieter way, weight, balance, and precision. He believed heavy cars are lazy engineering, because once you make something heavy, you spend the rest of the design trying to fight the weight you created. You add more engine to move it, now you have more heat. You add cooling to handle the heat, now you have more weight. You add stronger brakes to stop the weight, now more weight again. And suddenly your car feels like it's wrestling itself. Ettore didn't want a car that wrestles itself. He wanted a car that feels like it's dancing. That's why early Bugatti started getting attention. They weren't necessarily the loudest or the biggest. They were the ones that felt sharp and alive. And when you want to prove a car is sharp and alive, you take it to the one place that doesn't care about your excuses. Racing. Back then, racing wasn't just sport. Racing was reputation. If your car wins, people respect you. If it breaks, people laugh. If it loses badly, your brand becomes background noise. Bugatti didn't want to be background noise. So Bugatti entered racing, and this is where things start getting serious. The brand didn't show up to participate. It showed up like it wanted to embarrass everyone else. That leads us to one of the most famous racing cars ever made, the Bugatti Type 35. If you've never seen one, picture something that looks elegant but deadly. Clean lines, a confident shape, not overbuilt, not messy, just right. The Type 35 became a winning machine in a way that made Bugatti feel like a myth. It didn't win one big race and disappear. It built a reputation for winning again and again. And every win did something powerful. It made the Bugatti name mean something specific. Not cheap, not practical, not family-friendly. Bugatti started to mean performance with class. Now pause here, because this is the first place Bugatti becomes different from most brands. A lot of racing brands make ugly cars that win, and then later they try to make luxury cars and fail because people don't trust them with beauty. Bugatti had beauty baked in early. That's what made it special. But Ettore wasn't satisfied. He wasn't the type to say, okay, we've won, let's relax. He wanted to build something that made racing look small. He wanted a car for kings, not rich men, not famous people. Kings. So he decided to build the Bugatti Royale. And you have to feel how bold that decision was. It's like being great at cooking and then saying, cool, now I'm going to cook for the royal family and I'm going to make the biggest, most expensive meal ever, and everyone will accept it. The Royale was huge. It was designed like a rolling palace. It had that move out of the way energy. It was luxury on a level that felt almost disrespectful to normal people. Ettore truly believed the world would pay for it. Then history did what it loves doing in stories like this. The Great Depression hit, the global economy crashed, people stopped spending. Even wealthy buyers became cautious. The kind of customers who could buy a Royale now had bigger problems or different priorities. So Bugatti built this masterpiece, and reality walked in and flipped the table. The painful part is, the Royale didn't fail because it was a bad idea in engineering. It struggled because the timing became terrible. It arrived in a world that suddenly couldn't breathe. Still, Bugatti kept building, because that's what Ettore did. He didn't give up. He adjusted, argued with reality, then kept building anyway. And in the 1930s, Bugatti produced some of the most beautiful cars ever made. This is where the story gets emotional, because now we talk about Jean Bugatti, Ettore's son. Jean wasn't just the son of the founder. He was genuinely talented. He had taste. He had modern vision. People who study this era will tell you Jean didn't just copy his father, he brought a fresh mind that could carry Bugatti forward. During this period, Bugatti built cars in the Type 57 family machines that felt like art you can drive. And then there's the one people treat like a holy object, the Type 57 SC Atlantic. This car doesn't look like a normal car from that era. It looks like it came from a different planet. The lines are dramatic, the shape is bold, and it has this presence that makes people stare even in photos. If someone ever asks, why do people call Bugatti art? That Atlantic is one of the best answers. So imagine what Bugatti looks like from the outside at this point. A legendary founder, a son who looks like the future, a brand that can win races and build beauty, a name that carries power. It looks like the next chapter is guaranteed greatness. Then suddenly, the worst thing happens. In 1939, Jean Bugatti died in a crash while testing a car. No warning, no long goodbye, just gone. Bugatti didn't just lose a person, it lost its direction. Jean was a bridge to the next generation, and that bridge collapsed. And as if that wasn't heavy enough, Europe was sliding into World War II. War doesn't just affect soldiers, it tears apart industries, it steals resources, it destroys factories, it makes luxury feel meaningless while people are trying to survive. Bugatti struggled during this period, like many European manufacturers. And then in 1947, Ettore Bugatti died too. That hit the brand hard, because Bugatti wasn't a company built on committees and corporate systems. It was built around Ettore's taste and obsession. Without him and without Jean Bugatti was missing the two people who understood the brand from the inside. After that, a few people tried to keep Bugatti moving forward. Some plans came up and small steps were taken, but the brand wasn't in the spotlight like before. Still, the name Bugatti didn't lose its power. It became a special name, something car lovers talked about with respect, something you'd see in rare collections and important events. It was like Bugatti left the busy road for a while, but it never truly left the journey. Because a name like Bugatti doesn't stay in the background forever. Sooner or later, someone will try to bring it back bigger and louder than anyone expects. And that's exactly what happened. Decades passed. The world changed. Cars became normal. Big companies took over the market. Mass production became king. Meanwhile, Bugatti became something people admired in history, not something people saw on the street. But then in the late 1980s and early 1990s, the name Bugatti returned in a way that felt like a message. We're back. This comeback produced a car called the EB 110. Now, the EB 110 didn't return quietly. It arrived like a supercar trying to prove itself in a world already packed with famous names. It looked modern. It was fast. It had ambition written all over it. And for a moment, people really believed Bugatti had returned for good. But here's the part that people underestimate. Building supercars is not just make the car fast and sell it. It's like trying to build a small spaceship and then asking it to be reliable, comfortable, safe, and profitable. Development costs are huge. Production is slow and complicated. Customers are picky. The economy can shift. And if your business foundation isn't strong enough, the dream can collapse even if the car is impressive. That's what happened. The comeback struggled financially and fell apart again. So once again, the Bugatti name ended up in a strange place. Famous, respected, desired, but unstable as a business. And this is where the story changes, because the next comeback wasn't powered by a small group with a dream. It was powered by a giant. In 1998, Volkswagen Group acquired Bugatti. Now imagine what that means. Volkswagen isn't just one brand. It's a massive network of engineers, factories, money, and technology. And when they took Bugatti, they didn't plan to make a nice luxury car. They planned to do something that sounded impossible. They wanted to build a car that would embarrass the limits of the industry. They wanted something so fast and so luxurious that people would argue online whether it should even be allowed to exist. That dream became the Bugatti Veyron. And here's what makes the Veyron story so crazy. It wasn't just designing a body and putting in a powerful engine. The Veyron was a full engineering war. Because when you push power and speed into extreme territory, the car starts fighting you from every direction. Heat becomes a monster. Cooling becomes a nightmare. Tires become terrifying. Aerodynamics become delicate. The transmission becomes a breaking point. Brakes become a life or death demand. And Bugatti didn't want a track-only toy. They wanted something rich. Customers could actually own and drive on real roads, air conditioning, comfort, luxury, while still having performance that felt unreal. A lot of people doubted this plan because it sounded like trying to build a lion that behaves like a house cat. But Bugatti kept pushing, testing, redesigning, refining. And when the Veyron arrived in the mid-2000s, it changed what people believed a car could be. The Veyron wasn't just famous because it was fast. It became a symbol. It felt like a statement. If you give engineers enough resources, they can push the impossible into real life. And Bugatti didn't stop there. Because Bugatti is not the kind of brand that does one big thing and then relaxes. It made more versions, more special editions, faster builds, stronger builds, more exclusive builds. Each time it felt like Bugatti was saying, "You thought that was the limit? Watch again." Then came the Chiron. The Chiron wasn't just a replacement. It was like Bugatti saying, "We're not done. More power, more presence, more capability." It looked modern and aggressive, but it still carried that Bugatti signature, elegance mixed with something slightly frightening. And now, Bugatti stepped into a new kind of world. A world where speed isn't the only currency. Because the modern car world is changing. Regulations, cleaner technology, electric power, new expectations, new rules. And Bugatti is a brand built on extreme engines and extreme performance. That creates tension. Not the sad ending kind, more like pressure in a bottle. So the real question isn't, can Bugatti make another fast car? Of course it can. The real question is, can Bugatti keep that dramatic, emotional Bugatti feeling while the world pushes cars into a different direction? Because Bugatti's identity is not only numbers, it's the drama, the sound, the feeling that the car is almost unreasonable. And if you've been listening carefully, you know something. Bugatti has never been comfortable. It thrives on bold decisions. It thrives on doing too much. It thrives on making people say, "Why would anyone build that?" And then answering with, "Because we can." That's why people stay obsessed with Bugatti. It isn't just a car brand, it's human ambition with wheels. And if history has taught us anything about Bugatti, it's this. When the world thinks Bugatti has already shown its biggest move, that's usually when Bugatti starts planning the next one. So the only real question now is, what will the next unreasonable Bugatti look like?